And next I call upon the next presenter, Mr. Daniel Offie, for the presentation, facilitators and barriers to retention in HIV care among HIV-infected MSM attending Community Health Center, Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. So I call upon dear Daniel Offie to present the paper on the public health stream.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Chinenyeike Offie from Nigeria. I'm here to present this article titled Facilitator and Barriers to Retention in HIV Care among HIV-infected men who have sex with men attending Community Health Center, Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. And this article was co-authored with the following authors on the screen. So these are my presentation outline. So we'll look at the background of this article, the aim of the study, the methods, the key findings, then conclusions and recommendation. So as a way of background, the burden of HIV infection among men who have sex with men has posed a huge public health threat to the developing countries, especially Nigeria. So from the UNIAID Gap Report 2014 revealed that 70% of men who have sex with men are living with HIV in Nigeria. Additionally, data on 3 rounds of the population-based integrated biological and behavioral surveillance survey conducted in 5 geopolitical zones out of 6 in Nigeria showed a trend of HIV prevalence among MSM. In this 3 rounds of study, it was revealed that in 2007, the HIV prevalence among MSM was 14%. So in 2010, this prevalence now rose to 17%. Then in 2014, which is the last part of the study, the HIV prevalence among this MSM keep on rising, and it came out to 23% prevalence. And this caused for concern in terms of HIV program intervention. Despite all the investment made globally to curtail or to scale down the prevalence of HIV in the world, and also the expanded ARV that have been injected into the program, there is still increase in HIV infection among this category of population. So pathetically, in a study conducted in USA in 21 cities, about 64% of men who have sex with men were not retained in HIV care. And this calls for intervention because it has been shown that this particular group of populations are the drivers of HIV infection. So the aim of this study was to assess the facilitator and the barriers to retention in HIV care among HIV-infected men who have sex with men attending a community health center, Yaba, Lagos. So these are the methods that were employed during this study. So this study is an exploratory qualitative research study. And during the conduct of this study, 181 respondents were recruited for this study. Part of the method used was both phone interview and focus group discussion were employed during this study just to ascertain information around what can keep them or what can hinder them from accessing HIV care and services. So these data were collected using a pre-tested semi-structured interview administered questionnaire. And this study was done within 1 year. That's from June 2015 to 2016. So the sampling that were used, because of the nature of this population and the sample size, was convenient sampling. And the data collected were analyzed using a SPSS version 20. Of course, the descriptive statistics were used to summarize the quantitative variables, while frequency tables were generated for relevant variables. And ethical approval was also obtained from the Lagos University Hospital. And as well, when the study was going on, the consent of the participants were granted. So these were the key findings. During that study, after the analysis of that study, we discovered that the median age of this population was 24 years. And majority of these respondents were students. 34% of them were students and artisans. So while in terms of marital status, 156% of them, 156 of them were single, and this gives a percentage of 6%, while only 10 of them were married, which is about 6% approximately. So coming to the sex partner, so we also discovered that when we are conducting the assessment, we discovered that 81% of the respondents, they have attraction for both male and female, while 19% had only attraction for male. So the one that also broke our hearts during that study is look at the educational status. You can see that majority of them, about 61% of them, were in secondary school, while 32.6% of them were in tertiary school. So you can see that this group of people are majorly young people. And you agree with me that young people drive the economy of every country. So if a good intervention is not instituted to curtail or scale down the prevalence of HIV infection among these people, there's no way all the investment you are making in HIV intervention will work. So if finally continues, so when we are assessing the facilitator, what can make them to be retained in care, we discover that because of the nature of the study area, which is the clinic where the study is being conducted, is a community health center, and it has an OSS package of care, and also community centers where they will come and congregate, share their feelings, show their heartbreaks. So all the staff working in that facility were able to absorb all those things, make them to feel sense of belonging. So we didn't even know that this kind of study is going to come out this way. But when we now do the analysis, we discovered that for 3.7% of them stated that because of the clinic friendly package that they were receiving was the thing that making them to be retained. And of course, the environment is secure for them because most of them are afraid to come out. Going by the fact that in 2014 there was a same-sex marriage prohibition act that was signed into law, and in that particular restrictive policy, there's a clause that says that any organization providing service for this group of people are liable to 14 years imprisonment. So there was a lot of chaos, but there is also in our constitution that there is a right to health. So these are the things that even made the clinic to continue to protect them. So while we are also assessing their barriers that make others who were not comfortable with the clinic, because most of them are living in a very distant area because they don't want to come out. They are afraid that they may be harassed by security agencies. They can even be killed, So they are living far away from this facility. So 35.7% of them stated that one of those things that make them not to access healthcare services is because of distance. And of course, majority of them were full-time job employees, and 21% of them didn't access care because of the full-time job, as well as self-denial. Because some of them, even when they know that they are infected with HIV, they will tell you that it doesn't matter, and I better die with it, you know. So there was a lot of counseling and recounseling for them to ensure that the package of care that were designed for them were actualized in them. So in conclusion, the majority of the respondents were retained in HIV care services due to the available clinic service, due to the availability of the friendly clinic services that this particular clinic offers, as well as the secured atmosphere that were made available for them. So, so from that study, we now deduce that several important individuals, for example, like the perceived risk of HIV infection, healthcare providers, structural factors that might determine how MSM may or may not be retained in care were implicated, because some of them they don't even care that HIV doesn't kill, you know. So, and again, the stigmatization, the law that is not supporting their mode of operation are already there in country. So these are the things that we discovered that can make them, that can hinder them from accessing the services they are supposed to access. So part of our recommendation, the first one is that all relevant social, economic, geographical, and political forces that are acting against this group of people should be addressed, so that the rate at which HIV transmission is rising will be curtailed. So the second recommendation is that robust collaboration between the government, the community-based organization, the CBOs, the HIV care facility, healthcare providers, and even the MSM themselves, they should create more socially and culturally tolerant environment, so that whatever they need will be given to them. Because if we are not affected, if you are not infected will be affected. So, and of course, one-stop shop model of HIV care should be designed for this group of people, so that a maximum productivity that we need in this HIV drive to curtail or to break the transmission of HIV will be fully achieved. So in acknowledgement, I want to acknowledge my supervisor when I was working on this research, Professor Ekanem and Dr. Ginny Jab, another of my co-authors, for their unlimited contributions in making this research a limelight. And also, my humble appreciation goes to this particular organization, Population Council Nigeria, that is accredited this community health center, and under Henry Jackson Foundation, and also the community health department, College of Medicine, University of Lagos, that granted ethical approval for this research. So these are my references, and they will have plenty of references, but I'm able to extract these few ones that appreciate this work we have done. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel Offie, for the nice presentation. Participants, please raise your questions in the Q&A session chat box, so that Mr. Daniel can answer all the questions. We received one question in the Q&A, and also we open the poll for Mr. Daniel Offie for the presentation done on the topic of facilitators and barriers to retention in HIV care among HIV-infected MSM attending Community Health Center, Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm having one question from some of the attendee. This study was a longitudinal one. Did you also get approval from LSHSC Lagos State Health Service Commission? Was Professor Egnam your supervisor, or you both conducted the research together? This is the question I received.
This because this is a my master degree research. So this ethical approval was secured from LUT, where I went for my master degree. So Professor Kalem is also my supervisor, and we also co-author this particular research. Thank you. Thank you.
And you have another question, Mr. Daniel. Please kindly throw more light on the design. It seems to be more of a mixed study design with both qualitative and questionnaires.
Okay. This is like I said, is a mixed study in the sense that we combine both the phone interview and no, it's a quantitative study rather, because we combine both phone interview and a focus group discussion. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And the participants, the polling is going to end. Please vote for Mr. Daniel. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel.